So my dad was given the part of the Tin Woodsman, and the production began. Originally, the material that they used for the outfit for the Tin Man was out of real metal stovepipe. Now, the problem with that is that where the joints would meet was very sharp, okay? Yeah, so you get it. So one false move, and perhaps I wouldn't be here, no show. One day when my dad was dancing, they said, do a hitch kick. He went, seriously? And they did it, and he screamed, and the director said, get him out of there. This part doesn't call for a soprano. So they changed the material to cardboard. The makeup was a different story. Every morning my dad would come in and have a skull cap put on his head and a fake chin and a fake nose, and they would cover his hands and face with white grease paint and then liberally dust him with aluminum powder. Liberally. Over and over, because the lights would melt the makeup, and several times a day he'd have to have makeup reapplied. After about a week, my father started feeling some symptoms. The first was he was having trouble breathing, and then he was starting to have cramps in his fingers and toes, cramps that he could manage, but after 2 weeks of this repeated powdering, he woke up in the middle of the night screaming. His joints were doubling back on themselves. He couldn't breathe at all. He thought he was dying. And he was rushed to the hospital and put in an oxygen tent. Now, the next morning, he was still a bit groggy from, the drugs, but he got a call from the studio, and the nurse picked up the phone, and the nurse is going, and my dad's thinking, oh, they're checking up on me. That's so nice. And the nurse is going, Mervyn Leroy? Well, I don't care if he is an hour late. Mr. Ebsen is very sick. They were actually getting on him for not being at the studio at work. So that's kind of how it was. It took him 6 weeks to recover, and in the meantime, he was recast by Jack Haley as the part of this Tin Man. And my dad had thought maybe that they didn't believe him, that they thought he was mad about the part being switched. But in the end, he came back, and he was relegated to a series of B-movies till his contract ran out. Now, the interesting thing was that L.B. Mayer offered him a very large sum of money if he were to stay on, but he also said the studio would have to own him, and my dad said no. Here's a song he probably would have sung had he kept the role of the Scarecrow. I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain. I'd unravel any riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain. With the thoughts I'd be thinking, I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore, but I could think of things that I never thought before, and then I'd say to think some more. I would nothing till nothing, my head all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. I would dance, I'd be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain. Just a nothing, my head all full of stuff, my heart all full of pain. Then perhaps I deserve you and be even worthy of you if I only had a brain. Oh, well, if I only had a brain. Thank you very much. Gloria and George over there. Look out. Thank you.